Well, week 2 starts with the terrifying height challenge, where one member of each team must walk to the end of the ledge, over a cemetery no less, and retrieve the first clue. From there, they can either choose remember the chairs, where they match the crest with the name that they must pronounce in correct order, or deliver the colored goblets to 3 different locations to receive the final clue, which is the pit stop at the Zolfin Palace, where the last team to check in will be eliminated. Jag and Jazz breezed through the high challenge. They are a force to be reckoned with. Off to the next clue, they chose the goblet delivery, which was a feat in itself, as asking for directions to each of the 3 places proved difficult with the language barrier, yet they aced it. They were way ahead of all other teams. Jazz and Jag are in beast mode. Let's go. They completed the delivery in record time and in order, and they even had time to stop and help the next 2 teams before heading off to find the next clue, which was the final one to the pit stop at the Zolfin Palace, which they found again in record time. For the second week in a row, Jazz and Jag came in first place and added the Expedia trip to Sri Lanka to last week's prize of $2,500. Following them was Joseph and Adam, where Joseph completed the high challenge with ease and moved on to the next clue, choosing the goblet delivery as well. This took a bit of time as they were stumped on the directions at first until Jag helped them out. They went on to complete the task, found the final clue, and got to the pit stop, moving them up from last week's 8th place to 2nd place. Natalie and Stephanie followed, with Stephanie slow and steady on the ledge in the height challenge. Grabbed the next clue. They teamed up with Joseph and Adam to complete the goblet delivery. These sisters completed the task almost neck and neck with Joseph and Adam, arriving at the Zolfin Palace 1 second later to move up from last week's 5th place to claim 3rd place this week. It took a bit for the second group of teams to arrive at the height challenge. First up was Tucker and Eric. Tucker, he flew through that challenge. His balance was, well, amazing. And he collected that clue at the end of the ledge like a pro, but they went to the wrong clue box, arrived at the pit stop, causing them to have to double back to complete the second clue that they missed, and they chose remember the chairs. Once they completed that task, they moved on to the final clue box. They just had to touch it because they already had the clue before they could return to the pit stop and take 4th place, dropping from last week's 2nd place. Still very impressive as they double back and still beat the others who started before them. Hannah and Simone walked through the height challenge, chose to remember the chairs, and came up from last week's 7th place to 5th place. Izzy and Paige found Paige on the height challenge. They chose remember the chairs, and with one attempt, they were on to the pit stop, where they dropped down from last week's 3rd place, taking this week's 6th place. Chelsea's dad, Jack, a former firefighter, breezed through the high challenge, getting the next clue in record time and then choosing remember the chairs. When Chelsea saw Tucker in the dining room with the chairs, she recalled from Big Brother season 27 that he has a good memory and knew Tucker would beat them at this task. Still, Chelsea and Jack, after only a few tries, received the final clue and arrived at Zolfin Palace to claim 7th place, dropping down 1 spot from last week's 6th place. Rabina did well on the height challenge. She and her sister Christina took 10 tries before they completed Remember the Chairs, arriving at the pit stop in 8th place, falling a big 4 places from last week's 4th place. Kalen did the high challenge, and he and Taylor chose Goblet Delivery. They went on to claim ninth place, same as last week. Kat did surprisingly well, as I thought she would have crashed out as she did in last week's flower challenge. But she kept a level head. Then Kat and Alex took 10th place, up from last week's 11th place. Now, Matt, he was trembling and he very, very slowly took the high challenge. He needed more Megan's voice to calm and walk him through. But once he retrieved that clue, he practically flew back to the starting point. His confidence was up and arrived at the pit stop, same as last week, in last place. Angela and her daughter completed the Remember the Chairs same time as Megan and Matt, but unfortunately, they were the last to arrive and were eliminated this week. They joined Jack and Enzo brothers, who were eliminated week 1, and now there are only 12 couples remaining. You know what? If I were doing the Amazing Race, I would not have been the one to complete that height challenge. No way. And then with the next challenge, I personally think that the goblet delivery was easier than memorizing the crest and pronouncing the names correctly in order. Overall, they all did well considering they were sleep deprived for 48 hours. So, will Jazz and Jag remain in first place next week? Remember, they still have that express pass that was given to them by Taylor and Kaylin, who won 2 express passes at first place in the initial competition. Well, until next Wednesday, it's Paprika out.